So we are doing the online week, the recordings. There is no attendance, so this is a pre-recording, and it will not be the total of I'm guessing the 3 hours of class. Try and make it obviously as long as possible and comprehensive as possible. What I did want today, and what I am going to do, should I say today, and what I am going to do today is I'm going to cover just the end of this lesson that we're chatting about last week, Thursday, in terms of obviously, your approach and your attitude and your holistic, presenter mode that you are going to take forward, or, obviously practice and preach while you're on air. Then there's obviously there's homework to be done here. That I said already in the WhatsApp group. Again, if there are any questions, like there have been again over the past couple of months, if there are any questions, then what you do is just send me a text. Ideally, if it is something that you want as a private conversation, just DM me directly, please, so that we can actually attend to your queries. Right. What I've also sent there is the breakdown of the station promotion. So you have it's a full-bodied example that we did cover in class. I did tell you that that was developed with Paseka, so the part-time student, and I gave you the obviously the finished product so that you have a reference for your formative two, as well as you've got so many references that we've been doing in class for the content creation and the monologue, etc., that you can carry on about there. Right. Okay. Let me get back to what is covered then for today. So what I want to do is here I've got a couple of slides to just complete this lesson. There's a homework aspect, right? That I'd like you to obviously start doing in your groups. I've said on the WhatsApp group, please, that by the end of this week you have to have filled the spreadsheet that you go and you register your attendance, right? There's going to be another tab included there. It's going to say like groups and group members that you're going to put in there, and you're not going to change your groups again. That's what you're going to stick to for the rest, obviously, of the upcoming semester, right? So actually, from now towards maybe the end of the semester, not maybe the end of the semester, probably the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, we are going to be in studio, but we start the studio training today. So I have a video here that is, I mean, it's shared. I'll share the link with you on WhatsApp, but it's good for you to have this here and go through the walkthrough that I've done, particularly in the studio, so you can see how everything can work. And then of course today I want to cover imaging, so being able to put together a good jingle or an ID or a sting, whatever it is. And I've pre-recorded just a quick one, like a quick cold box for my phone. Again, just for some context and what's going to be happening again on in this particular lesson, this holistic lesson. We are going to take that audio. You must go and record, please, your voiceovers for your imaging in studio, not over your phone, so that you can have like a clear, like studio quality recording. Choose a person that actually knows, that has good voice, that has good delivery, etc. We'll get to that in just a moment, but we're going to do that. So that's the lesson for today. Okay. Okay, let's just quickly, this is where we left off, right? So speaking about Howard Stern, we spoke about, him quite intensely, and what, he does in terms of being able to stand out, and why he is such a great, like I say, a legacy jock around the world. Very difficult to be a global public figure when you are on air, because it is so segmented in terms of region and community and country and continent, or whatever it is, right? Like we would find, let's say in America, there's a number of DJs that are continent, I'm saying the public figures, so across America syndicated there. Or they are that much of a big personality that they are, either streaming really large audiences once again across the continent, not quite like over here. I don't think I've found no. I don't think there's a show. There isn't a show that we simulcast across different countries here in Africa. But again, so good props to him, and we explained why Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh, it's a Limbaugh, right? I think it's Limbaugh, right? Me and pronunciation, not really that great of friends, right? And we covered a couple more people, Ryan Seacrest, etc. Okay, all right. So let us right here we go. We went here. No, we did that, and we are here. Okay. So let's close up this lesson. Okay, in the song Join Together, The Who's Roger Daltrey sang, "It's the singer, not the song, that makes you sing along," right? So, what does that actually have as an importance or relevance to what you're doing, right? It is the presenter, right? At the end of the day, your performance at the end of the day is going to be what actually matters in terms of content that might be great, but your performance that might be poor is going to make the whole thing crash and burn, right? So it may be true, but no matter how great the performance, a bad song is a bad song. True. Like I said, the content and the presenter, right, at the end of the day have to be both good. And we saw that little bit of a, it was an example where the one presenter was really great at creating their prep, very, very thorough, very, I mean, concise. It was well, like I say, well structured, etc. Great ideas, but had no personality, had no idea of how to execute and deliver and connect with the listener. And the other hypothetical presenter, right, said was a great talent. So I'm saying to you, like a great raw talent, a very magnetic personality, could do a lot of stuff off the cuff. But had no ability to actually prep well, or had no content that actually had some depth and meat and relevance, whatever it is. And neither of those were like anything to idolize. I'm saying just anything that you could mold yourself off. Only when the two come together, both content and your presentation style, etc. Right? That is what makes a great on-air broadcaster. Right? So listeners don't form a relationship with content, but with your style, and yet personality alone will not overcome weak content, as just discussed. Right. So, content is how the audience is usually introduced to the show. We obviously have some interesting ideas, some interesting information, great interviews, music, whatever it is, right? It has the audience captivated, but what is it that you can do around that? So you can offer them the skill, right, which you're doing in terms of what I've just said about the content construction, right? But it is how you do it that also then matters, that brings it home, right? Magic happens when personality and content obviously intersect, right? Whatever word you want to use there, combine, come together, amalgamate. Who knows, right? Many shows excel at one or the other, and that does not mean that just because it's being done elsewhere, like it's correct. We always keep saying that, right? Okay, so there are two talk shows. So here's a case study, two talk shows on competing stations that happen to be on exactly at the same time. And this is where we go through the ideas that I just kind of mentioned in a different context. Okay. All right. At the same time, dealing with essentially the same material each day. One show is all about personality of the two hosts that are combined. Great synergy, great magnetism, like great, again, like a good pairing of these two really great personalities. They're natural, they're witty, they're entertaining, and generally they're likable. Like every single host should be on air, right, in some way or another. So they also fail, unfortunately, to develop their content, have shallow opinions, and lack depth in their topics. Why is there a failure in developing content? Because you haven't prepped properly. You also maybe don't know how to prep, right? You get into studio, you get there 10 minutes before, You go and quickly go Google some very generic stuff, and then you read off those particular Google sites or those obviously site results, right? Directly from there, and basically you're doing rubbish, right? So your shallow opinion comes from the fact that you are not worldly, right? You're very biased, you're very ignorant, you're very arrogant, whatever it is. You've refused to actually consume the world around you, which is just unacceptable as a personality, as a broadcaster, because you should be knowledgeable, right? And you should allow for open conversation. You should allow for perspective, right? And again, perception as well included in there. And then lack depth in their topics because again, it's about that worldly knowledge. Yes, true about the prep, true about like any ability to right do whatever it is that you're actually supposed to do as mandatory basics in radio. The other show features one of the most prepared personalities that this person case study has ever heard. Right, he is a virtual encyclopedia, knows a lot of information, knows a lot of facts. So we're on whatever topic. What do we call them? Sponges, right? My sister's a sponge. She knows a little about everything, which is really cool. Just she's not a flat person, just as a sidebar, but she is a sponge. We call them sponges, right? Also asks great interview questions and explores content in detail. However, like there's never anything beyond that intellectual stimulation. So it's informative, but it's not entertaining. So this person doesn't quite understand how to utilize personality, how to utilize communication, how to garner or like any type of connection with that particular listener. They just don't know how to like like how to be with another person, right? Um, and so the thing is, again, either or, one or the other, right? Okay, are not what we're looking for. We're looking for a culmination of both. Both shows cause people to tune out for the other, and one constantly disappoints in content, the other makes people run from the personality, right? So neither show ranks well in ratings. Both style and content are essential. And an example is Jim Rome, who has both, right? And so many more that we can name actually here in South Africa. And everyone has a personal opinion. I get that because they have a personal like. That's what the consumption of something that's recreational is. So I always compare it to like maybe a chocolate that you like, or an ice cream flavor, or a smoothie. Right? We don't like the same things, and so for each one of us, we'll know like who's a great presenter for us. Again, for me, Bob Mabena was one of the best, and it's not because like I'm trying to idolize him because unfortunately he has passed. Like Bob was so versatile in so many ways throughout his career, but it was so professional as well. And again, as a person, worked with him as well. Suppose this is why I have a like an affection for Bob because he was such a great person as well, and he resonated with both his I'm saying off and on air for me, great top-notch presenter over there. For you, it might be somebody else. It could be, I don't know, Ankle Tap Ayanda. Who knows? I don't know. But you'll have your own reasons. But then obviously make them good reasons, right? Don't again idolize someone, look up to and I say respect somebody's talent. Don't idolize, don't put anyone on a pedestal. No one's no one is better or worse than you are as a human being. So please don't do that. It's unhealthy, right? Anyway, so Jim here, as an example, delivers a thoughtful program with a campy personality, loaded with catchphrases and benchmarks to help the audience remember and emulate him. So here's the point: listeners respond to style, but depend on content. So what I want to do is I'm just going to pause here because you're not going to really see it, but I'm just going to pause the recording for a second because I want to get specifics of the guys. I want to get one of Ryan Seacrest and one of Howard Stern. Give me a second, yeah? Yeah. All right. So I've got an example just here. Actually, there's quite a lot of examples that we can actually use with Howard Stern. But this is quite nice. Okay, not that OJ died, but okay, we know. Let's just keep our opinions to OJ to ourselves because we know obviously what he did, etc. But it could be very interesting to hear what someone might say about his death. A lot of people will be like, "God for him." I mean, he like murdered in murdered in cold blood, and he did so much manipulation, and it was chaos, and also let a lot of people down. That's the thing because he was, I think he was a football player, right? An American football player, and you know how we idolize our sports stars. It's just so many people that it's just like, oh, dude, like you're a killer. It's just like, man, it's hashtag wrong, right? Quite like, what was that Oscar Pistorius? Yeah, special, right? Let's hear what Howard had to say.
All right, OJ died. He was 76. Who knew? I mean, he was still running around and at least giving the impression on Twitter that he was playing golf every day, having a great time. Nothing pissed me off more than listening to OJ's routine on Twitter.
Hey, Twitter world, it's me, yours truly, on this extremely hot 4th of July. Hey, Twitter world, yours truly. Look at Las Vegas. Look how beautiful that is. Look at those mountains. Hey, X world, it's me, yours truly, getting ready to head out and join the fellas at my favorite haunt and watch football. It's me, yours truly, kind of hanging out down here in the sunshine of South Beach. It's me, yours truly, just kicking back
South
on my
Beach.
couch. It's me, yours truly. I'm on vacation playing golf. From playing golf. I'm just saying, to all my ex-followers, I'm just saying, go Bills. I'm just saying, take care.
Talking about his
death. Laughing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, laughing in everyone's face. So, yeah, Nicole was 35 when she was murdered by OJ, and Ron was 25. If you add that up, he lived longer than them combined. So he really robbed them of a lot of years. OJ didn't have the good sense to just shut the fuck up. He loved telling people his life and how.
Apologies for the swearing, but you know how it's Stern and disclaimer 4. Let's just expect it from him, right?
Good it was. The most infuriating thing was he gives no indication of how haunted he was by Nicole's death. I don't think he thought about it for a minute. OJ had the cops called on him for domestic violence 9 times before the murder. 9 fucking times. I mean, what they think was going to happen. The great thing, and I want to praise Judith Regan for this. She lost her job over it. She had a book called If I Did It. She got OJ to basically tell you what happened that night. Now you listen to it and go, okay, there's the confession.
As things got heated, I just remember Nicole fell and hurt herself. And this guy kind of got into a karate thing. And I said, well, you think you can kick my ass? And I remember I grabbed the knife. I do remember that portion. After that, I don't remember. Except I'm standing there and there's all kind of stuff around and...
What kind of stuff?
Blood and stuff around. I hate to say this, but this is hypothetical. I'm sorry. Right. I know we got to back up again.
Right. It's okay. I want to back up.
This is hard.
I know. I want to back up to
try to make people think that I'm nervous.
I know.
Again, laughing.
Yeah. 2 months ago, you remember, I played this on the air. People on the internet were saying that OJ was in hospice care. He really was into, like, fronting and not telling anyone he had cancer. Because
because he denied that.
Hey, X-World. Hospice? Hospice? You talking about hospice? No, I'm not in any hospice. I don't know who put that out there, but whoever put that out there, I guess is like the Donald say, can't trust the media.
You can.
I'm hosting a ton of friends for the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas. All is well.
Ton of friends.
So, hey, guys, take care. Have a good Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah, no problem, OJ. Give me a list of those ton of friends that OJ had. Like, who's so morally corrupt they could be friends with OJ and, like, sit there and watch the Super Bowl with the murderer? OJ has more friends than I do. Years ago in 2019, we had Ron Goldman's sister on, Kim. Really nice person. She was only like 22 when the murders happened, and we talked about what it felt like to see OJ so active and positive on social media.
No, I think there's people that are completely fascinated by him. He's charismatic. He's, watch him on Twitter, right? He's got this personality, and I think that people take selfies with him now, and I'm just.
I mean, are you upset with the people who follow OJ on Twitter? I mean, yeah.
Not the ones that follow him that go on there to harass him. People are unrelenting.
That's good.
Yeah, the yours truly and the laughing and the chuckling about everything. That part is really hard to stomach because I look at him and think rage, murderer, domestic violence abuser. It's just hard for me to see him just enjoying, the good life like he likes to refer to it. But there are a lot of people that go on there and support him, and it's time for everybody to let it go, and I should just leave him alone because he's a free man. And I'm like, no, why? Why do I need to do that?
Kim Goldman told me that when OJ was acquitted, Johnny Cochran, the lawyer, leaned over to her and whispered, Gotcha.
Oh.
Like, wow, we beat you. Weird fucking world we live in. But the truth of the matter is this girl lives with the fact that she lost her brother. I'll leave the last word to Kim Goldman. She told me that she saw OJ in a parking lot once. And here was what went through her mind. Yeah.
I was in a parking lot. I just don't remember, like somewhere in Los Angeles.
But there he was.
And there he was. He was walking across the parking lot. I mean, I remember that gait, like that step.
Confident.
And just the way he walked, and he had like it would dip a little when he walked. And I for 9 and 10 months, I studied the back of his head. I mean, I knew everything. And I saw him walking. I thought, oh my God, I could take him out right here. Nobody would know. There's nobody around. And I remember like white knuckling the steering wheel. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is not who I am. I can't do that to my dad. I'm not a killer.
Yeah, you can't get justice. But one more fact I learned: JD is like OJ's widow. OJ followed almost no one on Twitter except for JD. And so people were calling, right, JD? People were calling you like, hey, are you okay?
I kept getting text messages. I kept getting instant messages from people that work around here. Oh, sorry you lost your friend, or sorry you lost a follower, and this and that. Yeah, it was real hilarious, everybody.
Didn't you tell me OJ follows me on Twitter too? Or did?
He followed both of us, yeah. I don't know why.
Well, maybe it was like a message to us, like, hey, man, I know you guys are fucking with me, and, hey, just know I'm listening and I'm tracking you.
Yeah, well, that's what I remember. I was driving whenever I got the notification that he was following me, and it shook me a little bit. I was like,
"Fuck yeah,
O.J. Simpson!" O.J. Simpson
yeah, I mean,
following me.
Guy's a murderer.
Yeah, let's leave it that. He just swears. Oh, he swears so much. Okay, but apart from that, because we have said Sirius, etc., Howard Stern. Yeah, I mean, like the thing is that this man has been known, and we said this in class, for first and foremost, for the whole thing of obviously shocking people, and he's made obviously a massive career out of it. Sirius XM is genuinely, it's just a platform that is above, I say above normal, obviously radio broadcasting. We do not speak like that. You know that we do not, and we don't at ever. You're not ever allowed to speak so quote unquote freely, to this extent. But we have to look at the broadcasting aspect of that, where in terms of a shocking value, sure, the swearing is just it. The swearing's the part that really gets you right, and it gets the back of my neck as I'm also lecturing. The skeleton gets like all sweaty and stuff. I find it very important to expose, like if we're talking about a massive global a forerunner, like I say, and also again, this man that has done so much in the radio space. And again, I think what is that? What is that movie, Private Parts? If you're interested, you should really watch how he went from, like I said, his very first radio gig up to just like dominating it's bizarre anyway. But the interview and the way I'm saying the construction of that particular link, okay, let's call it a link because it is. I mean, it's so well constructed, and his journalistic appeal is super magnetic. So again, it's a very high standard of again journalism at the end of the day, of interrogative journalism as well, and investigative journalism as well. Right The other person is, and I'm just going to take it because I haven't found a video, but I'm going to take Ryan Seacrest, right? Because he's the polar opposite. I would think he's the polar opposite. On air, okay, so on air, let's take that one. Polar opposite to to Mr. Howard Stern. Uh, wake up on air with Ryan Seacrest. So let's take, okay, imagine losing out on a job because you didn't wear makeup. Okay, so look at these two different styles. Oh my word, very different. Okay, both successful. Let's give it a second, obviously, just a little load. Right, but as it does load, here we go. Here it is. Just keep quiet while it does. Give it a second.
So it doesn't seem right. Actually, it seems like it's unlawful in a way, maybe.
I think so too. I think this is 100% illegal.
So what happened?
So this woman went viral on TikTok because her name is Melissa Weaver, and she was sharing her experience of a recent job interview, and it was for a high up position. It was to be like vice president of an HR position for this company, and she thought she nailed the interview. She was like, everything was great. She's like, I dressed to the nines, collared shirt, blazer, my hair was blown out. The only thing that she had not done was put on makeup. She doesn't really wear makeup in the first place. She just wore chapstick, and that was that.
Girl.
And so when she said she didn't make it to the next round, she called the recruiter back and said, "Do you have any feedback for me?" And the feedback that she received from the recruiter was, there was concern that you didn't put forth enough effort into your appearance, giving that she was interviewing for a vice president role. That was the feedback that the recruiter told her.
But you were telling us that she did dress up in a way, like a blazer.
Yeah.
It was an elevated look.
Right. It wasn't like she was wearing
Clothes.
pajamas or a
BS.
sweatshirt
I mean,
or anything
this
like
is total BS. Like, what's the guy version of it? It's like, I wouldn't have makeup on for an interview.
Right.
And
That
I'd have
is
a
the
jacket on.
argument.
point.
That's
That
what I'm
is
trying
the
to say.
argument.
I'd have a
Mhm.
blazer, no makeup. So this is a total issue.
I know. And it's so messed up, but it's kind of like crazy that stuff like this is still happening in our society.
Well, somebody needs to go get after that management there.
Honestly,
that's
they really
saying
do
that.
because it is such a
Okay.
problem.
This isn't legal, first of all. Like, she could totally sue them if she wanted to go further into this.
Right, or probably doesn't want to wear. And she's even auditioning is in my head. She's interviewing for HR of all things.
I
Yeah.
know.
HR should know.
Not to say
Yes.
that even.
That's my point. This is an HR role being interviewed by an HR firm for an HR job,
Mhm.
HR management. It's crazy.
But this is the world we live in. Like, so for me, I always have like concealer on because I feel like I have like dark circles under my eyes, and I put in a little bit of effort into my like makeup regimen in the mornings. Whenever I don't, I'll sometimes get asked like, "Oh my gosh, are you tired today?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just the way that people are conditioned to be around women that wear makeup. And then one day you don't wear makeup, it's like you look tired.
I'm glad she put this out there because
Yeah.
it's got to be happening in more places too.
Yeah, and it's
For
not okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay. So, very, very, very different styles, as I've just obviously mentioned before. But again, the two are giants, massive giants, both Howard Stern and Ryan Seacrest, as mentioned in the class. And so this is why I'm referencing some exposure to their shows in particular. Ryan Seacrest doesn't need; it's not part of his personality to sit and be, I say, exotically shocking, right? Because he isn't that way. He just isn't that way. Does that not make him as good as Howard Stern? No, not at all. Because Howard Stern is nothing like Ryan Seacrest, and that's something that you need to understand for yourself. As I said before, the moment that you start comparing yourself, start thinking about trying to be someone that you are not on air, and you are immediately losing one focus on yourself. So it's half attention, 50% attention on you, 50% attention on everyone else that you can never be like, never, ever, ever, ever be like, right? Okay, because they are 100% number one, the best at who they are in this life, and anyone and everyone can try to emulate them, and they'll always come and they'll take second place, right? But what is it? Professional, knowledgeable, confident personality, like that, knowing all the semantics of being on air, that control, good bit construction, right? The obviously the prep is there. The knowledge, I'm saying, the information is structured from beginning to end, right? And again, in both, just in this case, like we have co-presenters and we have a contributor in this particular interview here with Ryan himself. Okay, all right. So let me stop that share. I want to just go back now to just close this lesson up in particular, and what it is that you have to do. Then what I want to do is I want to move immediately um, over to the next lesson, right? And I'll break it. I'm going to break it up. You'll see, right? Okay. Anyway, here we go. So, as I said to you on WhatsApp, you have to go and please go create. Yeah, go create those groups of your that you're going to work in. I said there needs to be 6 groups there. Each there's going to be 4 in 5 of the groups, 3 people in the last group there, so we can manage the obviously the workload, make sure that it's not spread too thin. I say so. We don't want anything 5. We don't want 6 people in the group, right? 4 is a fair enough, like I say, allocation, and everyone can do their fair share. Again, we'll talk about the semantics of how you split up the group, but I did already mention that one has to be like a dedicated producer, someone that is going to and wants to be a producer in the industry, and will also in the summative, in the S1 at the end of the year, execute a production demo, right, as opposed to a presenter demo that comes from these shows, and more that we'll do after the F3, right, in preparation for that summative as well. So, a rotation, obviously, as we've explored already around, if you are a presenter, everyone else besides the producer must rotate between sports and news and the actual presenter themselves, and so on and so forth. But you need to find the right group. And again, once again, you cannot change, right? Okay, and you cannot do the show alone. So it's just those are the 2 things. According to the principles learned, like here, are shows which like on which shows, right, on air, or do you find badly executed content and well executed content? So, what is, I think, maybe an easier way while you're listening to the radio is to create generic, I say generic points, something that you have seen before, way back in the beginning of this particular semester in the year when we spoke about what's good and what's bad radio, right? You've seen that also throughout all the years that we've done already, but like you need to now, like you're now in 3rd year, you need to, as you've seen now, it is much more detailed. It's comprehensive. Like it is like you are doing management in radio. Take on that role and really like quit, don't just say, oh, the links are boring. We don't know why. Why are the links boring? Is the bit construction like erratic? Is the quality of the interview or the quality of the soundbite bad? Or the fact that they played a 6 or 7 minute clip, or maybe there was swearing in there, or it wasn't the right person to speak to, a bad interview, whatever it may be, right? So you need to know, you have to tell me exactly what it is that has made for bad execution and well execution, right? Okay, so again, the delivery on air. Okay, then for yourself, like it's important, 5 factors that your show that's coming up in the second semester, the moment we come back, you start doing shows, right? So that your show, your team will have that will class it as a win, right? And don't just tell me, oh, it's going to be good content, like so obvious. Like don't make it so obvious. Like what are the ideas that you have? Like what are the, like I say, what's the dynamics like? What are you going to prepare as a team? I'm saying, how are you going to hold those particular production meetings? Like the quality of getting the voice notes and the voxes, and how you're going to be prepared for certain events, attendance and whatever it may be, right? Please make it in detail, right, so that we can actually know, I know that, and you know that you are ready for what we are doing on air. Okay, all right. So let's just, I'm going to quickly move to, yeah, let me just quickly move to here, and then I want to play. Uh, just as a precursor to what's coming up in the second recording, which is going to be only putting together this particular working in Adobe. I'm going to work in Adobe. You're going to work in Logic, you can work whatever you want. I don't care as long as it comes out great, right? Whatever you feel comfortable with. But here are all the aspects that you need to cover and you need to be confident in, right? Okay. When you before you go on air, one, preparing content for shows covered, right? Practicing on the playout system is going to be covered, like I say, in those last 2 weeks of class, right? Practicing the desk and the live environment. Practice, we're going to do that in the last 2 weeks of class, but we're going to do the beginner video today, right? Okay. Creating playlists ready, so using information gained from the formative one. So what and loading those playlists, right? So the thing is here, this is questionable. We always do want this. We always say, listen, we'd like the students to do it, but for the semantics, this I'm going to here's a clear reality. The semantics of BMH at the end of the day will not allow you to do that because they have a structure. They have someone that compiles the music that loads it according to their clocks and their rotation, and you can't really mess with that, right? I'm saying you don't have the control in terms of loading those playlists. It's going to be complete chaos. So realistically, you won't be able to load those playlists. You can, however, and you will, however, restructure the hours of your show in terms of accordance to the clocks that you did make in the formative one. So with a simple rotation of top 40 bubbling under alternative local as well as some classics, right? That will rotate across the hours of your shows that you're going to be assigned. It'll be the same time every single week. Every single, like I say, group will have an assigned time. Um, Take it, you can't leave it, right? Create news and other utility imaging, beds, etc., right? So um, here, imaging for the shows, which again will be covered today, and you have to go and do all of those five, and which are coming up now. That here is yeah, I think it's here. Here it is, right? You have to go and produce your own. Right, five jingles here. Step in with BMH Radio. BMH Radio, not just Gen Z, but next gen. BMH Radio, Sia Jiva, 99 Problems, but BMH Radio ain't one. And making daily memories. BMH Radio, all constructed by you at, you and across the different classes, right? Okay, anyway. Loading the imaging, definitely be part of that, obviously, because you must use it. So you must use it on your quick play and you must use it in the show because it is the point. That's why you're making the imaging, right? You have to use the BMH news and sports jingles, right? That already there, so we can have consistency throughout the broadcasts. So you don't have to go and create those jingles for those particular elements. But you do need to load bed. Okay, you do need to load some bed for yourself that you can actually use and practice compiling, writing, and reading news, sports, and other utilities like financial indicators, weather, traffic, right? All has to be in your bulletin finished, right? Okay. And the bulletin has to be balanced. So, for example, it must have top local, top national news, then top local news, then we have to have top international news, and then we have to have a tail ender for that particular news, like I say, bulletin that you are going to be constructing. How will that work? As I said to you in class, that the news readers must compile the news 2 hours before the show because it has to be. It's a live broadcast, and it must be time. I'm saying time relevant, right? So it can't be old news. You can't keep rereading the news as well. Like you did it once, like 3 weeks ago, and now you're going to keep reading that same bulletin. The whole point is that you go and you learn how to do this, right? Ideally, what I want also is that you're going to use short 13 to 14-minute sound bites within the news as well, right? At least for one story. And then same with the sports. Sports will be three stories, right? What are our most popular sports here in South Africa? Soccer, rugby, cricket, right? Those are the ones that you start off with. Or if it is a news, as it's a current affairs generated or led story, so there's been some kind of politics involved, let's say in the rugby or within our local athletics or whatever it is, would probably run with that first. But in order of priority, soccer first, rugby second, cricket then third. But obviously, these are seasonal sports as well. So, what is next? We'd have netball and obviously university rugby, etc. Um, and we would have tennis is important, athletics is important, Formula One at a later point is important, right? So probably last of those ones, Formula One can be put in to your sports bulletin, right? And again, these this is 3 stories, 1 minute each on this side, with each story here, 30 seconds, please, for each story within the bulletin here. So 1 minute for each, 30 seconds for each, right? Putting together all the schedules and logistics for the running of a 24-hour radio station, right? So we will discuss that, okay? But you can't physically do that. That is something that we are assigning to you, right? And you must come and do the job, all right? So here we go. So this is what you need to do. Like you need to understand, like discuss your understanding of each of the roles, right? Okay. And each item here, what is your understanding? And again, keep a like I say, track your progress with each one of these things, barring the ones I said that you don't have control in, which is the playlist. And again, the scheduling at the end of the day, the actual playlist. So not the rotation, right? So, okay. Then so know your competency for each, and if you're not competent, make yourself competent. Finished, all right? Because you have been already taught all the skills up to this point, both obviously back in sound engineering and within radio itself. And you yourself are journalists, so you know how to do the news, right? And you know how to cover news, etc., right? So declare additional skills like editing that are to be committed to by yourself, right? Draft a training timetable for studio time, which is what we are going to do together for those last 2 weeks of this semester. And then the register is going to ideally be signed to declare agreement. Okay. All right. So this is what we want to start off with today, right? Use the 5 taglines that we came up with in the snap content document and now produce them. Record the cold vox for each. Apply an approach of applicable wet and dry IDs. So wet meaning it's got a lot of production in there, and dry. Ideally, it's just straight up slick, just the vocal, nice and cold. All right, with no production value, so no effects, that type of stuff. Right. Okay, when necessary, add appropriate sound effects when necessary. So for the wet ones, ideally, right? Perform a final edit in class using Audacity, Audition, GarageBand, something that you can have on your PCs. You must have and bring to class, right? That would have happened ideally today, but again, because it's a pre-recording, because of the low attendance or no attendance, it's going to be pre-recorded, right? Provide to me, right? Provide a demo. So you must show me when you have done the imaging, and you have to do the imaging now. So it's done and it's over and done with, ticked off the list, please. Okay. You must play it for me. I will give you crit. You will go back to your sessions and go back and re-edit so that it is fixed and it is finished. Okay, here are the taglines as uh, mentioned already. All right, one last aspect to this. Let's go through the studio itself. So here, what? Give me a second. So we go here, and it is here. Let it load, please. Okay. All right, here we go. So pay attention, take notes, and again, uh, you have the recording. You don't need the actual link. It's right here. So it's part of the recording in your class. Reference it. Right. Okay. Okay, good morning, or hello. We're going to do a little bit of a studio, and this is specific to the. I just want to make that resolution higher. The Sandton Studios here at Boston Media House, for a bit of a studio check and be able to know exactly what it is that you have to press and not press here in the studio before you go and do your dry runs as well as your live shows. Okay, so I'm gonna say hello again, and this is an exciting time for you as well, because we're going to go live just after we come back from the holidays. And well, let's just get into what you have to do immediately. So every studio will have its sanitizer, right? We'll be able to sanitize quite heavily the mic itself as well. The earphones that are just over there, I'm going to put them on in a moment. I've got the keyboard over here. We've got the mouse on that side, and that should be enough. We want to consider doing maybe lightly over the desk. We don't really want to go a little bit further than that in case we damage the channels. If you have a concern about contracting COVID or whatever it may be, disease. Just as a sidebar, COVID is back. Well, I've seen quite a few of my co-workers, but it doesn't matter. This was obviously when the COVID was very bad, and we were going to hospitals and people were dying, etc. So there should be some kind of sanitizer in the studio, right? But ideally, so please, at this very point, right, do not spray, because I know and it's not it's not your fault. It's just because you're new at it. Do not spray the desk, please. I've got a feeling that students might overload that liquid in there. We're going to have a problem. You're going to damage the desk. We're going to have a really massive problem. So please don't do that. Only use it for the mic, okay? Because people are sick just generally. And if there is sanitizer, again, let's spray sanitizer in the studio. Right. Anyway, continue. Disease, around this time, especially running up into winter, then just wear a mask, and obviously again just sanitize everything as well as your own, let's say, our own little hands here as well. Okay, so just in terms of getting ready for your shows, you will be, we'll do another video where you can you'll understand more how to as well. So we'll do a little bit of editing, and I'll use Audition, also show you how to use Audacity, so that it's free software for you on that side. But we'll also look at how you will prep, okay, as well for your shows. Every show must have prep. Every team must work on that prep together, okay. So as you know, that we'll have newsreaders, a newsreader that will do news, sports, traffic, financial indicators, and weather. At the top and at the bottom of the hour, we'll have a main host. Okay, with my Sandton group, we're only going to have 3 people in each group. The third person is going to be the producer. So just as just how that'll work, obviously again on air, the host will be a solo act. They can learn. If you're going to be presenting, you'll rotate. If for those students that do want to present and learn presenting, they must rotate from show to show. But that presenter is going to learn what we need to understand in radio, which is being able to host a solo act show, okay, not depend on a co-host at any one point, okay. The newsreader will obviously be like I said, will not share that with a traffic or a sports presenter, but entirely on their own. And here we go. Right, so just in terms of technique, we have the mic. We'll always, don't be a DJ that moves from here to here. We want to be able to keep the mic directly in front of us with 4 fingers as a length, just to be able to know that we are broadcasting correctly. Right. If we're going to put on the earphones, which you will always put on the earphones, we'll be able to hear exactly what we sound like. If I'll switch on the channel, and I'll get to the desk in a moment, but I can hear myself just fine. I'm going to also just put that a bit higher, because I am quite fond of my voice, and I'm ready to go in terms of being able to just do my lengths and move forward into my show. But I'm in the right position, and I have got just the right kind of delivery in terms of my tone. I could liven up a little bit. Yeah. Drink some tea, some black tea in the morning, just before you do your show. Rooibos is always the best. And away you will go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly, right. I'm going to shift this around, and we'll move just to the desk quickly. Okay. So let us look at the desk again, just to reiterate that here we are in the Santon studios. So I'm not sure. I think the Durban studios are a little bit different. Pretoria, I think we're still using also the same. So Genesis up there in terms of the playback system. So when we come in, we want to be able to look that the first 4 channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, are in this case our mics. Okay. In terms of here's mic 1, there's mic 2 on the other side, 3, and we have 4 over there. Okay, we don't want to lift higher than let's say zeros. Keep that there, because we want to make sure that our levels. So here I'm speaking into the direct mic on mic 1. My levels are just fine as well, and they're not peaking and not going into the red line over there. Okay, so that's how we're just going to test that just beforehand and make sure that we know before we go on air. Okay, all right. So let's look at the other 4. So on the other side of our desk, we've got another 4 channels over here. That says Genesis 1 here, Genesis 2, Genesis 3, Genesis 4, Genesis 4. Going up here is our quick play. Right. So our quick play will be always on, and I'll show you that in just a moment over there. But as you can see, there are 4 channels that are on our Genesis over here. Right, so I'm gonna lift up 2 and 3, because in this case our desk is set for autoplay on either of the 2 channels, on 2 or 3. Okay, and that means if I'm just going to switch off my mic there for a second so you can actually hear, I'm going to turn the stereo, the stereo, well there you go, stereo speakers, there we go. I'll turn it a little bit up so we can actually hear that if I'm going to go with my autoplay over here, right, choose 1 or 2, it's going to actually play the sweeper, and then we're going to go into colors. Right. Yeah.
The local station you love.
Okay, great. So now what I'm doing is I'm just turning the levels down here in terms of studio and on my mic or on my earphones, so that you can actually speak over the song that is playing. So great stuff in terms of we've got a bunch of new sweepers that the BMH students have produced for us, which is great. So when you do your shows, you can use these sweepers over here, and you can you have to also build your own IDs and your own feature IDs as well. The news and the sports jingles will be available to you if we press on this little button here, this file list. We'll be able to find all loaded music, our news beds, jingles. We have spoken before. Just put it a little bit lower. Yeah, there we go. Right, so we have spoken, Kabange will extend this as well. We'll either have a cold or we'll have a wet in terms of the bed will carry on. So you'll have about 5 minutes or so for your news and your sports as well to run through. But you have to use the already loaded news and sports jingles. So we can keep consistency the same across the station. When you do join, I say join in basically the beginning of the first semester, but you're joining the BMH team, and so we'll share both here and across. You can see there's the other one there as well. Okay. All right. So let me just quickly. I'm going to put this on so you can see. I can
put on pause, which is not actually what you want to do. I just want to show you that this here is our autoplay. So while that is on, it means that the music and the jingles that you might decide, I'm going to line up. Listen, I'm going to take Dangerous here, and I'm going to line up a sweeper just after, and again Halala over here, and I'm going to line up another sweeper over there. Okay, so it's always better to just put the jingles in between the IDs for right now while you are beginning, because we want to kind of keep it clean and keep it slick, so that when you do come into a link, you know, and you end it, you can just press again any one of the two automated, in this case, channels here, and it'll automatically just play the music. Okay, one other thing over here is your autoplay. The moment that this is switched off, it means that the song will stop, right? So when I say stop, once it's ended, it'll finish, and then the songs will not play. That's when you do your length. Right, just another thing, if you would like to, I wouldn't suggest it in the beginning. You are able to just have a look here and be able to mix, let's say, our sweeps together. There you can see that here the vocals should stop. They said to stop, right? We want to also be able to put this a little tighter over there. Okay, here we are over here. I want to play it, so I'm going to take this over here. I want you to see what that sounds like. Let's put the stereo up just a bit. Stereo sound, here we go.
The local station you love.
Yeah. Right. So I can actually see that, you know, the vocals are actually going to start here. I'd like to rather, let me just stop it over here. I would like to rather push them over here. So just as the sweeper ends, let's say there, let's play it. Probably a little bit there. Let's go and try that out. Lana. Nice. Nice. Okay. So you can go and apply the changes just to make your show a little bit tighter when you are doing the music sweeps. And we can just actually just close this once it is done. Okay, so once again, quick play is, we'll just have a look here. Here's, oops, excuse me. There we go, quick play, there we go. Okay, so you want to just be able to have a look here. Your group will be loaded here with your own feature IDs and your own sweeps that you will produce. But I can easily play on channel 4. The quick play is set. Have a look over here. Right. Okay, so you can understand that why it'll be easier here to put our news jingles, play it here, have everything sorted here and organized for our playlist. Remember your music rotation. So we've spoken, and in terms of, so KB's loaded enough music that is relevant around our top 40 and our bubbling under, as well as, you know, just in terms of our classics. So you'll be able to find any music that's been updated here that you want to actually play. But your music rotation will come in there. So let's say we want anything from here. You can just pull it here, and I want to pull it into like our playlist over here. One last thing, in terms of, because I only want to just focus on the basics in this video, is we will have, so let's just quickly PFL this. Okay, so let's say I want to listen to something off air. So we've got, let's say, continue now. Okay. Put that a little bit down. So that is going on air right now. Okay, and I want to listen to this particular jingle off air. I'm going to have to PFL it. So I'll look at channel 3. I'm going to go to channel 3 over here, and I will PFL it over there. Right, so you can see there. Channel 3. Channel 2 is busy playing over here. Channel 3 is PFL, so we're going to pre-fade it over there. And there's a pre-fade over here button here. So if I play this on channel 3, I
Witness a size beatbox. Start the countdown. 3, 2.
So that's pretty cool, right? You'll obviously use this for voice notes that you receive and you load, and anything that you want to like I said, pre-fade, just listen to beforehand, see how it sounds like. So I kind of like that. That's cool. I'm gonna put it in here. We drag through, and again we put on there, right? So pre-fade anything that you have pre-recorded, you pre-produced, you've loaded onto the system. And again, especially voice notes that you're going to load onto the system, it's better to see whether they've been loaded at the correct volume. You obviously have to go and normalize and like use your equalizer within your sound editing software correctly, and that is obviously going to be your producer's job, whoever's assigned on that show. But yeah, if you just want to pre-fade to see where let's say a voice note starts or anything like that, we're gonna lift it up there. I just want you to note quickly that so I'm going to take this pre-fader off. So note, music's going to stop there after 7 seconds. Autoplay is not on. Boom. Okay. So then you can, right after that, you'll know you're at the countdown as well. You saw there, and then you'll be back on air. Here's your mic, and off you go. You say BMH Radio. Well, here we are, yeah, BMH Radio. It is 10 minutes past 9, and Chris with you this morning, chatting about all things Senzo, right? Right. So that type of thing. Okay. So yeah, I think that'll be enough for you to for now be able to come in, practice. Please, the dry runs are really important for you and your group to kind of get a good, just a good feeling for one another, as well as you also getting good feeling for the desk, as well as your practicing your own delivery, right? And then again, throughout all campuses, we are here. We are here, and we are doing our dry runs together in class as well during class time. Okay.
All right. Okay. Done and dusted. All right. So I'm gonna just let me just try to put this because that makes me anxious. There's something that's running. All right. We'll stop the share there, and we're going to stop the recording there. Next recording is directly into the practical.